You were not created to live in lack. You were not born to barely get by, scraping through each month, just surviving. You were created for abundance, for overflow, for blessing, and not just to keep, but to give, to build, to uplift. Now, when we say rich, we're not just talking about money. Yes, wealth can include finances, but real richness is wholeness. It's having peace, purpose, provision, and the power to bless others. God doesn't bless you just to raise your status. He blesses you to raise your impact. But here's the key. Riches don't begin in your wallet. They begin in your mindset. If you think small, speak lack, and expect little, that's what you'll receive. But when you shift your thinking, when you start seeing yourself as worthy of more, and not for pride, but for purpose, things begin to change. You have to believe you're not stuck. You're not limited by your background, by where you came from, or by what you didn't have growing up. You're not bound by the economy or statistics. You're connected to a source that's higher than all of that. But wealth doesn't just drop from the sky. You have to position yourself with discipline, with vision, with generosity, with excellence. You have to honor small beginnings, plant seeds, and trust the timing. Favor follows those who walk in wisdom. You may not be where you want to be yet, but that's okay. Every season is a setup for what's next. The struggle now is shaping the steward later. Stay faithful. Stay expectant. Stay generous and keep showing up with a rich spirit even before the rich results arrive. Because the truth is, you're already rich. Rich in potential. Rich in divine back. And when you align your character, your mindset, and your action, wealth won't just find you. You'll become the kind of person it was always looking for. Wealth begins with your mindset, not your money. Wealth doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your belief system. Before any riches show up in your hands, they must first be rooted in your heart. The way you think about money, about yourself, and about your future sets the ceiling for what you'll experience. If your mindset is limited, your results will be too. You can't step into overflow with a mindset that's stuck in survival. Many people wait for circumstances to change before they believe they can prosper. They say, if I get that job, if I get that job, if I get that raise, then I'll start thinking differently. But it works the other way around. Your thinking must change first. Wealth flows from within to without. That's why someone can win the lottery and lose it all in a year, because the money changed, but the mindset didn't. You can't hold on to wealth with a poverty mindset. You may have been raised in lack. You may have heard phrases like, oh, we can't afford that, or money doesn't grow on trees. You may have been taught to fear money or to see it as something only other people have. But that cycle can stop with you. You can rewire your mind to think abundance, speak increase, and expect overflow. That's how generational wealth, spiritual and financial, begins. Your thoughts are seeds. When you think thoughts of abundance, you're planting the kind of harvest that leads to increase. But if you think thoughts of fear, scarcity, and limitation, you're sowing seeds that choke your potential. You have to uproot the lies before you can walk in the truth. And the truth is, you are not broke. You are not broke. You are not behind. You are loaded with purpose, favor, and the ability to create. Start seeing yourself the way heaven sees you, as someone chosen, equipped, and empowered to prosper. You are not created to struggle forever. That struggle may have built your strength, but it is not your identity. Shift your mindset from I can take to I'm capable. From it's not for me to I'm next in line. When your mind aligns with abundance, your life begins to follow. Don't underestimate the power of daily thinking. The quiet thoughts you repeat are shaping your future more than the big decisions you make once in a while. If you think like a steward, speak like a leader, and act like someone destined to rise, it's only a matter of time before your life reflects it. Your outer world is just a mirror of your inner world. You don't have to have $1 million today to start thinking like someone who carries wealth. Start where you are. Speak life over your finances. Expect increase. Treat what you have with respect. Give with joy. Save with wisdom. Spend with purpose. You're training your mind to hold what God wants to pour out. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about preparing yourself. Because if you don't believe you're worthy of wealth, you'll sabotage it when it comes. That's why the mindset is so critical. It's not about arrogance. It's about alignment. You're not chasing riches. You're aligning with purpose. You're not trying to be someone else. You're growing into the fullness of who you were created to be. And that journey begins in your thinking. Riches are not just material. They are spiritual, emotional, and purposeful. When we talk about getting rich, most people immediately think of money, cars, homes, or designer clothes. And while there's nothing wrong with material blessings, that's not the whole story. Real riches are deeper. They include peace that can't be bought, joy that doesn't run out, and purpose that wakes you up in the morning. Money can enhance your life, but it can't fulfill your soul. There are people with millions in the bank, but emptiness in their hearts. They have houses, but no home. Followers online, but no one who truly knows them. That's because true wealth isn't measured in digits. It's measured in depth. If your spirit is bankrupt, no amount of cash can fix it. But when you are rich in love, faith, wisdom, and inner strength, you walk in a wealth that outlasts every economy. You are created to prosper on every level. Not just in your finances, but in your family, your health. Some of the richest people in this world aren't the ones with yachts. They're the ones with peace at night. They sleep without anxiety. They love without fear. They live with clarity. That's wealth. That's abundance. Don't underestimate the value of emotionalness. When you learn how to forgive quickly, love deeply, and lead yourself wisely, you're operating on a level that no paycheck can buy. It's one thing to have a fat wallet. It's another to have a free soul. And the beautiful thing is, one can lead to the other. If you keep your priorities aligned, spiritual wealth is what anchors you. It's the quiet confidence that even when things look uncertain on the outside, you know you're provided for on the inside. You walk with peace in storms. You walk with faith in valleys. That kind of richness turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces of grace and resilience. When your spirit is strong, you can carry things others would collapse under. And then there's purpose, one of the rarest forms of wealth. It's what keeps you grounded when success comes and lifted when setbacks hit. Purpose doesn't get lost in the numbers. It sees people, builds dreams, and leaves a legacy. When you live with purpose, you're never poor. You always have a reason to wake up and give life your best. If you chase money without building these deeper riches, you'll find yourself constantly striving but never satisfied. But if you start by becoming rich in wisdom, rich in discipline, rich in gratitude, external wealth will follow. And when it does, you'll be ready to carry it well, because your life will be rooted in what truly matters. This is wealth that lasts, wealth that multiplies in more than one dimension. So don't just pray for money. Pray for money. Pray for maturity. Pray for wisdom. Pray for wisdom. Pray for vision. Because real richness is not what you have. It's who you are becoming. And when the person you're becoming is rooted in wholeness, generosity, and faith, you won't just attract wealth. You'll carry it with purpose and use it to make the world better. Your background doesn't limit your future. Too many people walk through life carrying labels they never asked for. You came from the wrong side of town, or a family struggled, or didn't go to the right school. And after a while, those voices start to sound like truth. But here is, your history doesn't define your destiny. What's behind it does not control what's ahead of you, unless you give it permission. Maybe you grew up in a house where bills were always behind, where opportunity seemed like something for other people. Maybe no one around you talked about vision, goals, or wealth. Just survival. But just because you were raised in lack doesn't mean you were built for it. You were made for more. And what didn't get passed down to you? Discipline, wisdom, wealth can start with you. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are a pioneer of your future. Don't let your upbringing become your ceiling. Let it be your motivation. Let it teach you what you want to build differently. Every setback you witnessed was a seed for something better. You can turn the pain into purpose, the struggle into strategy. You're not just escaping your past, you're rewriting it for the next generation. Some people didn't get handed much. No inheritance, no connections, no open doors. But that doesn't mean they were left out. It means they were chosen to build what didn't yet exist. And that takes faith. That takes courage. That takes a vision bigger than your surroundings. Don't look at your background. Look at your birthright. You were born with potential, born with promise, born with the power to grow beyond. Even the people around you, friends, family, teachers, they may have placed limits on you, not because they were cruel, but because that's all they knew. Don't resent them, but don't believe them either. Just because it's all they saw doesn't mean it's all there is. You're connected to a source of unlimited supply. You're backed by favor. You've got divine momentum. So what if no one in your family ever owned a business? You can be the first. So what if no one in your circle ever thought about investments or real estate or impact? That just means you get to open the door. You are not the product of limitation. You are the beginning of legacy. You're not stuck. You're seeded in the right season to grow something brand new. There is power in believing that your future is bigger than your past. Not because of ego, but because of purpose. There's something in you that the world needs, and no background can cancel that. You are not the label someone else gave you. You are the person God created you to become. So stop rehearsing the limitations and start speaking the promise. Start seeing yourself not through the lens of your past, but through the lens of your potential. Because when you do, something shifts. The excuses fall away. The fear fades. Your labels lose their grip. When you realize, I may not have come from much, but I'm going somewhere great. The story is not over. It's just getting started. And your past is just the soil. What matters is what you're planting. Discipline is the bridge to divine overflow. It's one thing to dream of abundance. It's another to live in a way that prepares you to receive it. Many people pray for overflow, but they're not willing to walk in order. They want prosperity, but resist process. But here's a powerful truth. God will never pour increase into disorder. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the bridge between desire and destiny. You can be anointed and still unprepared. You can have vision but no structure. It's not enough to want wealth. You have to create the habits that can carry it. Discipline is the proof that you're ready. It shows you can handle more. It trains your hands to hold what you've been asking for. Without it, blessings become burdens. With it, overflow becomes sustainable. Don't despise the quiet seasons of practice, of saving, of showing up when no one's clapping. That's where the foundation gets built. The discipline to budget, to steward, to say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's excellent. That's the hidden work that produces visible fruit. Discipline creates room for destiny. Even in scripture, we see this principle. Before multiplication came, there was always order. The loaves and fish didn't multiply until the people sat down in groups. The oil didn't flow until the vessels were gathered. The abundance wasn't released until the system was in place. Structure invites supply. When you align your habits, your heart, and your house, that's when increase makes sense. Discipline means you don't follow every impulse. It means you don't spend just because you feel like it. Don't quit just because it's hard. Don't compare just because you're tired. It's saying, I'll live today in a way that honors the future I'm praying for. It's not glamorous, but it's glorious. There is beauty in restraint, strength in routine, power in consistency. And here's the thing, discipline isn't about control. It's about capacity. It stretches you. It grows you. Every time you choose faithfulness over feelings, you're enlarging your container. You're saying, not just more money, more purpose, more responsibility, more impact. Overflow without discipline is waste. But overflow with discipline becomes legacy. Sometimes we think God is withholding blessings, when really He's waiting for us to build the strength to hold them. He won't give you what you can't yet carry. Not because He's cruel, but because He's kind. He loves you too much to watch you collapse under a blessing you weren't trained to handle. So if you're in a season of discipline, don't resist it. Embrace it. That's how God prepares people for greatness. So build the habits now. Make the decisions now. Delay the gratification. Tithe faithfully. Work diligently. Rest wisely. Budget intentionally. Because discipline is how dreamers become doers and doers become distributors. It's how increase not only finds you, but stays with you. Speak abundance, not lack. Your words are not just sounds. They are seeds. Every time you speak, you're planting something into your future. Many people pray for blessing, but speak as if they're still bound. They ask for increase, yet speak limitation. But the truth is, your mouth is either building your future or blocking it. If you want to walk in abundance, you've got to talk like abundance is already yours. What you consistently declare will eventually show up in your life. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. You can't complain about lack and expect overflow. Your words carry the power to shape your atmosphere. When you speak with faith, even before you see the results, you're calling the future into the present. That's not hype. That's a spiritual principle. Some people wonder why their situation hasn't changed, but their language hasn't changed either. They say things like, I'll never get ahead, or I'm always broke, or that's not for people like me. What they don't realize is they're prophesying poverty over themselves. You have to stop agreeing with limitation. Stop letting your words echo your fear and let them reflect your faith and let them reflect your faith. God responds to faith-filled speech. He moves when he hears you trust him in the midst of tight seasons. Saying, I don't know how, but I believe breakthrough is on the way, opens the door for divine movement. Speak it before you see it. Call in clients, call in ideas, call in peace, call in favor, not with desperation, but with expectation. Even in small things, your words matter. When you get your paycheck, do you say, this isn't enough, or a thank you for provision? And I'm ready for more, eh? For more, eh? When a bill comes, do you say, I'm drowning, or I may not see the way yet, but I know I'm not staying here? Your confession creates your climate. You can't afford to be casual with your words or with your words. And it's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about choosing what kind of story you want your life to tell. You may be in a tight space right now, but you can still say, increases in my future. I'm disciplined. I'm favored. I'm blessed to be a blessing. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. You're not denying reality. You're declaring a higher one. The most powerful shift you can make today isn't in your bank account. It's in your vocabulary. Every time you speak life over your future, you're reinforcing a mindset of abundance. Every time you bless your finances, speak over your ideas, and declare your purpose, you're telling your future, I'm ready. Lack loses its grip when language shifts. So say it again. I'm not staying stuck. I am increasing. I am expanding. I am surrounded by favor. I am blessed and I'm becoming a blessing to others. You may not see it all yet, but the words you're speaking are clearing the path for it to show up. Your life will start to follow the direction of your declarations. Give generously, even when it doesn't make sense. One of the greatest secrets to lasting wealth is learning to give even when you're still growing. It may not make sense in the natural. How can you give when you're trying to build? But the kingdom doesn't work like the world. In the world, they said, hold on tight, secure your position, protect what you've got. But in the kingdom, we understand that generosity is the gateway to multiplication. When you release what's in your hand, you make room for what's in God's. It's not about losing, it's about sowing. Farmers don't mourn when they plant seed. They expect a harvest. In the same way, every time you give, whether it's your time, your resources, your encouragement, your talent, you're activating a law that can't be broken. Give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Many people are waiting to give when they have more. But giving is not about amount. It's about attitude. It's not about how much you have. It's about how open your heart is. If you're stingy with little, you'll be stingy with much. But if you're generous in the small things, God knows He can trust you with bigger things. Your giving proves your readiness. Giving shifts the focus off of self and back to purpose. When you give, you're saying, I don't trust just in money. I trust in the one who multiplies it. You're breaking the grip of fear and scarcity. You're reminding yourself that you're not the source. God is. And when your source is unlimited, you never run dry. Sometimes your giving will stretch you. It will challenge your logic. You may think, I could use this for my bills, for my goals, for my plans. And yet, something in you says, hustle it. Trust, release it. That's not foolishness. That's faith. And faith doesn't wait for evidence to act. Faith gives when it's inconvenient, because it sees what's coming before it arrives. You can't outgive God. Every seed you plant in love, in obedience, in faith, it's not leaving your life, it's entering your future. You may not see the harvest tomorrow, but make no mistake, harvest always comes. Sometimes it shows up in finances, sometimes in opportunities, relationships, peace, or favor, but it always comes back, multiplied. And giving doesn't just bless others. It unlocks something in you. It breaks selfishness. It breaks fear. It reminds you that you are not here just to receive. You are here to overflow. You're not just meant to gather. You're meant to give. And every time you do, you're declaring with your actions, I live in abundance, even if I'm still on the way to abundance. So give, even when it stretches you. Give with joy. Give with expectation. Give with the mindset of someone who's connected to more than enough. Because when you give in faith, you don't lose. You launch. You open up a future far greater than anything you could have built by yourself. Surround yourself with vision, not limitation. If you want to rise higher in life, spiritually, financially, emotionally, you can't stay surrounded by small thinking. You rise to the level of your environment. If the people around you are always complaining, always afraid, always doubting, that spirit will eventually wear off on you. But when you surround yourself with people of vision, with those who dream big and believe big, your own capacity begins to grow. You need voices around you that remind you of what's possible, not just what's practical. People who will say, "Oh, why not you?" instead of "you could never." You don't need cheerleaders who flatter. You need believers who stir faith. There's power in being around others who talk in increase, who pray with expectancy, who live with intentionality. Their energy builds something inside of you. Sometimes the breakthrough you're praying for is on the other side of a new connection. You've been doing all you can, staying faithful, showing up. But the right people can bring fresh ideas, new doors, different strategies. God often uses relationships to release provision. That's why your circle matters so much. Don't be afraid to evaluate your environment. If you're the biggest thinker in your group, it may be time to grow your group. If you're always the one pouring but never receiving fresh inspiration, you could be running dry. You weren't meant to climb alone. You need mentors who stretch you, peers who challenge you, and friends who remind you of who you really are, especially when doubt whispers. Now, that doesn't mean you cut everyone off. It means you set boundaries. It means you decide which voices get the most volume in your life. Some people you love dearly may not understand your calling, and that's okay. But you have to protect the soil of your vision. Don't let people plant seeds of fear in ground meant for faith. Create an atmosphere where vision can thrive. Read books that stir up purpose. Listen to messages that speak to your next level. Have conversations that stretch your spirit, not shrink your dreams. Where there's vision, there's provision. And when you immerse yourself in a culture of belief, it becomes much easier to keep building. Even when things take longer than expected, you may have grown up around small thinking, around lack, around limitation. But you don't have to stay in that mindset. Just because your family never talked about building wealth, starting businesses, giving generously, or dreaming big doesn't mean it can't start with you. Be the person in the room who speaks life. Be the one who dares to believe. The people around you are either fueling your faith or feeding your fear. Choose wisely. When your environment aligns with your vision, you grow faster, clearer, and stronger. Your dreams deserve a space to breathe, a place to be believed in. And when you surround yourself with vision, you begin to live with expectation instead of limitation.